Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PUDcast with Jason and Mike. I'm Jason.
I'm Mike.
We're coming to you from the Pud Cave located here in Game Swap in beautiful downtown Lincolnton in the great state of North Carolina. Mikey, usually at this point I ask what's up, but brother, I know what's up this week, man.
Absolutely.
We have a very, very special guest in this Pud Cave with us today. And another first of PUDcast, we have our first guest and the best guest that we could have, and that's our spiritual co-host, a man that we bring up almost every week. I think I might have missed you last week, but we're making up for it spades this week, Mike, because in the studio we have a living, breathing music encyclopedia. And that man's name is Mr. Wayne Sisk. Wayne, how's it going, brother?
Hey, fellas, it's good to see y'all. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Thank
Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's no problem.
Absolutely, Wayne. Thank you for coming, man. Thank you.
Good to see you guys.
Well, Mike, what are we talking about today, brother?
We're talking about a lot of stuff today.
We are.
A lot.
Yes.
But mostly something I'm not exactly an expert on. Warren Zevon.
Who?
Warren Zevon.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, I believe an old friend of mine about 27 years ago, how's that make you feel? 27 years ago, someone turned me on to Warren Zevon.
I think I was 10.
Yeah, in dog years.
See, I reached around 37, 38, and it just stopped right there.
That was it.
And there are no more birthdays after that.
Shit, brother, I hit 21, and I'm like, you know what, man, I'm just now getting good at it. It took me 22 years to get good at 21.
Takes a while to get good at anything, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. But, no, man, back in the day when I worked at a little place called Country Corner.
There you go.
Located, and that's for the old school G's right there, bro.
Where is that?
Now, that is located on Highway 150, like you're going toward Lake Norman, and it's directly across from the Forest Lawn Cemetery.
That's right.
That was my first job.
And it's still there.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
still there?
Still there.
Yeah.
The different management.
Oh, yeah, different management, but it's still there. It's one of those little icons that won't go away because it's just in such a good spot.
Yeah, it is. It's in a perfect location, and I'm gonna be honest with you. As a 16-year-old having the first job, you can't have a better job.
It was a little fun place to work.
It was great. You know, the one thing about Country Corner, Wayne, and you know, obviously that's where we met.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting to here. That's where we met each other. But the cool thing about Country Corner was whenever, because it was me, you, my brother Brian, and a friend of ours named John Harkin, another friend called Donnie Grooms, who unfortunately passed away not long ago. Rest in peace to Donnie. He was a really good friend.
Yeah.
And the thing about that little crew was when somebody was off, the other people would show up.
Yeah.
That's really how I got
That's
the
how
job.
it was.
Yeah, because I was always up there hanging out with Brian. They just eventually put me on the payroll because Brian put me to work.
Yeah, it was great to meet him because, you know, like I said, I was up there working, and I was older than all of them. Well, still am. But
now we're all the old guys.
Yeah, but you know, like I said, he was just one of these good kids, fun to talk to and hang out with, and like I say, this was one of those jobs where we were not high, you know, technical level, but we had fun trying to make the place work good, and you know, and it was just basically, you know, getting to talk, and there was so much time to talk up there, which was really good.
Yeah, that's true too, man, because we had, you know, it was one of those jobs where you were either balls to the wall or you were bored to death.
Exactly.
There was very little mid-ground at Country Corner.
Exactly.
And
so
Now, I've heard tell that there's a training video you have to watch before you even think about start working there.
Yes, the name of that training video is Clerks.
absolutely.
And I'm still not convinced my brother Brian is not actually Dante.
We've never seen him in the same place at the same time.
That's the truth,
Right.
man. We've never
Right.
seen them both, and
Yep.
I mean, man,
He looks.
It's
identical.
so scary.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
One of the funniest stories I have about Country Corner. Now, Wayne worked in the daytime with Gene Green.
Yeah,
good old Gene Green.
Good old Gene.
Gene was all right. But you know, you guys were probably a little bit more structured during the day.
A little bit.
Where in the evenings it was me and Brian, Donnie, John, and in other words, it was chaos. but there's a scene in Clerks where they go onto the roof to play hockey. Well, me and Brian would play hockey with the sausage biscuits
Exactly.
that were left over from those things were hard as hell, man.
Because an old sausage biscuit is not edible.
No, and it is the same consistency as a hockey puck.
Exactly.
It is, and so we would set up on one end of the aisle, and we would try to take pot shots and get it into the little sweeper thing that we had, and Clerks was definitely up there with the training videos because Country Corner was honestly got more fun than Clerks itself.
If you ever see Clerks, just look at it and just say, I have friends who have done that work and that way.
Yeah.
And like I say, I consider it to be more or less a documentary or a training video.
A training video, absolutely. Absolutely.
But you know, one of my favorite memories of working at Country Corner was one day me and Wayne were talking, and we were just talking, believe it or not, talking about music. Wayne's actually not a big pro wrestling fan. I figured I'd go ahead and get that out of the way.
It was one of those times where I've gone in cycles. You know, I when I was younger, I was back when when it was on black and white in the NWA. You know, National Wrestling Alliance with. If you recall the old names like Johnny Weaver and George Becker and the Flying Zukas and all these other ones, you know, that was back in my day when I was coming up.
Right.
But you know, it comes in cycles. You know.
Yeah. And I know me and Wayne didn't talk a lot about pro wrestling, but you know, we did talk about we talked about music.
Oh yeah.
As I've said before on this podcast, and you know my friends know this, I play a little bit. I try to play, I attempt to play.
Yeah.
But I love music. I'm into it. And one day, me and Wayne are just talking, shooting the crap, you know, per usual. You know, instead of working. Yeah, who wants to do that?
Well, you know.
And Wayne asked me.
Slow minute.
Yeah. It was a slow day. But you know, Wayne asked me a question, man, that really in a lot of ways it changed my life. And that Wayne was like, "Have you ever heard of Warren Zevon?" And like 99.9% of the population, I'm like, "Who is that?"
All right.
Warren, you know, Wayne, I would like for you to talk about the song that you talked to me about that got me interested. And that was "Play It All Night Long."
Yeah.
That was the lyrics and the subject matter. And I'm like, I got to listen to this guy.
Oh yeah.
Would you like to talk a little bit about that song?
It's a great song. It's one of those where it's a song that Warren wrote that sort of has his philosophy on music, you know, and it just sort of is his way of thinking about it. Music to him was just as important as anything else. And it wasn't so much that he wanted to be a star. You could tell reading this. He wanted to be a star. He wanted to be well known. He wanted to make a living of it. But he also wanted to play music. I mean, it's like they said, if you don't play music for a living, you'll still play music for free because you love it. And that's what Warren did. And this song sort of exemplifies that because he like I said, you listen to it and you just feel his heart coming through it. And the one thing about Warren is he never ever wrote anything that didn't mean anything to him. I mean, and this song meant a lot to him. I mean, you look at something else like, you know, say "Play It All Night Long" or "Mohammed's Radio."
Oh, wonderful song.
And these songs, they you could tell they mean something to him. And it's not like he was just writing off some quick, you know,
trying to bang out a hit or
pop
something.
Hit wonder. Exactly. I mean, and again, like I say, he was not against that. He was actually trying for that. But that was not what was his main goal. Right. And and just like when Jason and I started talking about it, you could see when somebody like Jason, who likes music, and you can, one of the things that I like was introducing people to music, and that's, you know, why I talked to him about it. The first time I heard Warren, I was about the same age as Jason was. You know, I was at a friend of mine's house, and it wasn't that song that came on. The first song I heard of was "Excitable Boy."
Oh yes, another one with some pretty crazy lyrics.
It's definitely crazy, and that's one thing about Warren. You know, he would. I don't know if he was so much stream of conscious, but like I said, he would focus on something and build around it.
Right.
I mean, "Excitable Boy." If you read it, if you read the lyrics or just listen to it, you have got to realize this guy's crazy.
Crazy man.
But it's just such a good song, and the music behind it.
It's upbeat.
It's happy music.
Yes.
But it's a dark subject. I mean, it's just incredibly dark. I mean,
now Mikey's looking at us like he's not too sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we should tell him some of these lyrics.
Oh yeah.
Well, like with that, I think, you know, with that era of music, it was changing a lot.
Yeah.
From the bubblegum pop to where they were going more, you know, they have more quality to the song.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
And Warren, above all else, was a musician. I mean, he could play just about anything. Right. And but "Excitable Boy" basically starts with a young man who's troubled with his family, and he disrupts the Sunday dinner with.
Yes.
And then
pot roast was on the menu.
They said, you know, basically it goes, and he puts the pot roast all over his chest. "Excitable Boy," they all said. They're basically, it's kind of almost a indictment of mental health issues.
Yes,
because
it is.
basically this guy's showing everybody, I'm nuts, and everybody just saying he's just excitable. Just let him alone. Let him alone. And he goes to the movie, and in those days they actually had ushers or usherettes. Well, in this one he bites the usherette's leg. And then,
but he's just an excitable boy.
He's just an excitable boy. Don't get excited. Don't get excited.
That's all it is.
But then, of course, he takes little Susie to the junior prom, where he then proceeds to rape and kill her.
and build a cage with her bones.
Well, that happened later.
That's in the leather.
Because after 10 years, after finally someone pays attention. After what he does, well, and the best line in the song is, he rapes her and kills her, then he takes her home. Well,
excitable boy, they all said.
So then the final verse goes, after 10 long years, they let him out of the home, and he builds a cage with her bones. Because he's still not well.
He's still, yes.
There's, like I say, and like I say, I don't think Warren was subconsciously saying this is an indictment of, the mental health issues, which Warren had a few of his own, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Between the heroin and alcoholism and all the other stuff he had his issues. I mean, his dad, just not to get off too far off subject, his dad was a gangster.
Yeah,
an actual living gangster.
Yeah, Russian mob. Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen another sort of a throwback to like a media thing, the movie Gangster Squad with Josh Brolin.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
It was total BS, the story, but the guy they were trying to bring down was the mobster Mickey Cohen.
Right.
Well, that was actually Warren Zevon's boss.
Really?
The real life gangster, and Warren's dad was actually Mickey Cohen's best man at his wedding.
No shit.
They called him Stumpy Zevon, which is a great name.
That is absolutely a gangster name. Yes.
He was a gangster and he was a gambler, and and again, show opposites attract. His mother was a Mormon, so.
Yeah. There you go.
But like I said, I don't think Warren was deliberately trying to say that, but his lyrics were deep. Yes. And Excitable Boy was the first song I heard that got me excited about it. And like I said,
excited.
Exactly. Oh, it was so stupid. Back when I was younger, I thought I was cool. I actually had an Excitable Boy T-shirt.
Oh, that is cool.
And I wish I still had it, but when you get older and things go with holes in them and stuff, you got to get rid of them.
Right.
But
sometimes.
But I'm walking down the boardwalk in Myrtle Beach, and I'm wearing Excitable. Now, Excitable Boy means I'm excitable, not that I will excite you, which some people didn't get.
Yeah, right.
Because this one young woman actually walked up to me, total stranger, and said, "No, you're not."
Oh, man.
And I went, "Okay, thank you."
Yeah.
I wanted to say that, but I want to say, if you really thought about this, excitable means you shouldn't really mess with me, but that's okay.
Yeah. Did you not listen to the song, woman?
Apparently not. But like I say, Jason and I, we became, closer by listening to this because it's just such good music. And you can listen to his musicianship, his lyrics. I mean, and it's like I say, it's not that he didn't want to hit. It's just like some of his stuff just was not, hit worthy. The only really close thing he had was Werewolves of London, which everybody seemed to love, and it was, just. I think that was one of his true poppy songs.
It really was,
and not really any deeper meaning, but there it was.
Yeah, it was a hit, man, and it had that basic D, C, G progression. Same progression, Sweet Home Alabama. It's a very popular hook in music.
Exactly.
And for years, when it's funny you bring that up, because doing my research this week, I listened to the vinyl Excitable Boy. I have it on 180 gram vinyl press.
Exactly.
Cool thing about vinyl is you can't really skip. I mean, you can, but you got to work for it.
Yeah.
You can't just hit a button. In other words, it definitely encourages the whole album experience. Now, truth be told, Werewolves of London is one of those songs for the last, maybe 20 years I've skipped over.
Exactly.
It's a little played out, and I'm such a huge fan of the man. I'm like, he was so much more than this song. He was so much deeper, so much more. But yesterday, as I put on the vinyl, and I'm doing some chores around the house, I'm doing a little cleaning, a little housework and this and that, it comes on, I'm jamming out to it. And it's the first time I've really jammed out to that song in a long time. I'm like, it is a hit, it is poppy. And it's not Warren's fault that was the only hit he had. Every song he ever put out should have been a hit.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly.
And the song that I wanted to touch on just briefly was the one I was just bringing up, was Played All Night Long.
Yeah.
The lyrics, I remember when Wayne said, "Hey," because I'm a huge Leonard Skinner fan.
Exactly.
Anybody knows that. And this song touches on Leonard Skinner. So Wayne was like, "Hey, have you ever heard Warren Zevon? Know who is that?" He's like, he goes into who he is, and then it's like, you should check out this song. And here are some of the lyrics.
It's dark, but it's good.
It is so dark, but at the same time, and I think that's what I love about Warren so much, man. It's not just his songwriting and his amazing musicianship.
Exactly.
It's his sense of humor.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's another good thing.
Yeah, dark. Just like my sense of humor can get kind of dark, especially when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mellowed out my age. But man, when I was younger, I was no subject was taboo. I mean, I would laugh at everything. I mellowed out.
Exactly.
But here are the lyrics that Wayne told me. I'm like, I'm buying that cassette tape. Let's see. Grandpa pissed his pants again. He don't give a damn. Brother Billy has both guns drawn. He ain't been right since Vietnam. Sweet Home Alabama, play that dead band song. Turn those speakers up full blast. Play it all night long. I was hooked on the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I went and I got the cassette and I was hooked on the music. Another line in that song, let me make sure I get this right. Daddy's doing Sister Sally. Grandma's dying of cancer now. The cattle all have tuberculosis. We'll get through somehow.
And that's it.
That's it, man. Yeah. And that was his music. That's almost it in a nutshell, man. Those are so dark.
It's dark. It's got humor. Like you say, it's dark humor, but
we'll get through somehow.
Yeah, we'll get through somehow. Yeah. And you can't think of anything more dark than that. And to play the music behind it, it was upbeat, but it was like say it was driving music. It was not,
yes.
And there was nothing, sort of half-assed about it. It was just all the way in. And he did other great songs like that. I mean, if you listen to Carmelita, it'll break your heart.
I saw that Gigi Allin covered.
I heard that one.
Yes.
It was not a bad cover.
Not bad. I'm not a Gigi Allin fan.
I was not a Gigi Allin fan at all. And, Gigi Allin's gone, and I would say rest his soul, but not really.
You're right. I can.
He wouldn't have wanted that, I don't think.
No.
But
he was against every grain.
Everything.
Yes. I mean, really. Yeah. But like I said, his cover was not bad.
No, it wasn't, man. And being not a fan of Gigi Allin's one of those strange cases that I'm not a fan. I don't listen to his music, but I get it.
Yeah.
I do get it.
And you can't help but admire somebody who says, this is not how I'm going to be.
Yes. Right.
This at every point in his life. So, I mean,
yes.
Like I said, don't like him, but got to sit back and say, yeah, he did it his way.
He did it his way, man. He marched to his own drummer, man, and never apologized. Hell, if anything, he was like, F you while I'm doing it.
Exactly.
And that is punk. That's it.
That's exactly it. But like I say, when you think about another thing that we're talking about hits with Warren, he did do a song called Poor, Poor, Pitiful Me that Linda Ronstadt actually made a hit. It got some good airplay. Yes, I don't know how far it went up on the Billboard charts, but it was one of her bigger songs.
Yeah. And that's something else about Warren, man, is he did collaborate with a lot of people. In fact, when you brought up Mohammed's Radio a little bit ago, and I don't know if you knew this or not. I'm sure you did, but Stevie Nicks is actually doing the background vocals.
Yeah.
And not only is she in the song, but this was before Fleetwood Mac.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, they were actually roommates. Warren, Lindsay, and Stevie were all roommates before. Wayne, let me ask you about that, man. And Mike, I feel like we're leaving you out a little bit here, brother.
I apologize for that.
I'm learning a lot about this because
But you get us two together talking about Warren.
It gets pretty.
Some of the names that he's collaborated with. Of course, Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, Jackson Brown.
Jackson helped bring him out.
Jackson did, and another I think kind of overlooked guy is Jackson Brown. He had some hits, but he was still overlooked for his musicianship.
I totally agree, man. Very underrated.
Yeah,
very underrated.
Member of the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Let's see, Bonnie Raitt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Meet Me in L.A.
Yeah.
That's on the Excitable Boy.
One of my personal favorites, and this is what gets me into it, is Carl Wilson.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
From the Beach Boys.
And I tell you, somebody else was David Gilmour.
Exactly.
From Pink Floyd, man.
Exactly.
That is a Transverse City all the way. I believe it's All the Way Down or. Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
I can't either.
It's on Transverse City is the album, but I can't remember the name. All the Way Down or something like that. Wonderful song.
But it is, and like I said, people who are good at what they do know other people who are good at what they do, so they want to collaborate with them. And that's why Warren was able to do so much, because he had so many people who were music giants, and they wanted to work with him. Like I said, he may not have had the success they had. His tours were, though, good. I mean, he did great tours.
In fact, Wayne, I believe me and you may have actually went to a Warren Zevon.
We did. That was one of the best nights we ever had.
Yes, it was, man.
And it was typical. It was a typical Warren show, because we got there. It was a little place in Charlotte.
Rockies.
Rockies.
It was Rockies.
It was.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
we went there, and the show was supposed to start about 9.
Yeah.
But 9 o'clock rolls around, nothing.
Comes and goes.
10 o'clock rolls around, nothing.
Comes and goes.
11 o'clock rolls around. Somebody finally comes out and says Warren's, it wasn't a bus. It was his bus.
It was his bus.
Had broken down just as he crossed the Virginia-North Carolina line.
Yep.
But he said he would be on his way.
He will play.
So we're sitting there, and
the place is getting rowdy.
Oh yeah, and there's no seating in this place. This was just a club.
It's a rock club, yes.
So we're sitting there, and then finally this dude comes out. It was so great. he comes out and he looks around. He's confused.
Older guy, you know.
I am the tow truck driver that picked up the bus for the feller that's supposed to be here
Didn't
tonight.
know he was.
So he said to tell you he's ready to play. Warren Zevon.
Yeah.
And just walked off the stage.
That was it, man.
And I said, they probably got him to do that with a beer.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely, man.
You know,
They
you
gave him
do
a
this,
beer.
we'll give you a free beer. What the
wow.
hell? It was great. And he came out and put on a hell of a show.
And man, it was just him.
It was just him.
Just him and an acoustic guitar and a keyboard.
And it was
That was
awesome.
it.
It was
That was
incredible.
it.
We sat there, almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, I would say probably hour and a half, maybe 2.
Maybe 2 hours.
Maybe 2.
And we left tired, but it was a great show.
It was, man, it was one of those mind-blowing experiences, dude. And I
When
was
we walked out the door, there was a broke down
the
bus.
bus on the tow truck.
But
Well, I tell you, man, do you remember Jeff Kent from WRFX to Fox came out, and he was like, "Wow, I don't think I've ever seen that many people in this place."
exactly.
Which surprised me because it being Warren, I just kind of assumed that nobody would be there.
Yeah, I mean, really, we were kind of hoping that it would be a good show,
An
but
intimate type show, man.
an intimate type show. But it was just a great show.
Yeah, man. It
And
was packed.
you were awesome because you were having such a good time. And our old buddy Mike Huss went with us.
Yes, he did. Yes, sure
And
did.
I've seen Mike just recently. Big old Mike, he's still working hard. But it was just one of those type of things where I wouldn't trade that for the world.
No, that was one of my favorite memories. You know, Wayne, I was actually fortunate enough, man. I got to see Warren 2 more times.
Exactly.
After that.
Exactly.
The second time I got to see Warren was with a band.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually had a band. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. It was probably my least favorite of the 3. I think Warren was just going through the motions in that show. He
Right.
didn't seem to be all in. Me and a friend of mine, David Hayes, went. I call out
remember.
David about every week. I'm
Yeah.
going to call him out now. Me and him went. It was a good show. It was fun. But it just wasn't. I don't know, man. It was like he was just. It's almost like he clocked in.
Exactly.
You know?
And I can understand that because you look at somebody like Warren, when he's up there and he's the center of attention, which he likes.
Oh yeah.
You can
Absolutely.
read his book and see, like I said, he did not do this just for the music. He wanted the attention.
Right.
And that's what I think that a lot of people don't understand. Even if you are not a huge success as a musician, you want that attention.
You want that.
And when he's up there and having to share it with a band,
It's almost like once again, it was a good show, and it was great to hear those songs with a live band.
exactly.
But like I say, out of the 3 times I've seen him, twice solo, just acoustic, and then that one time with the band, it was probably my least favorite. But the last time I saw him, Wayne, unfortunately you weren't with me on this one. It was exactly 1 week before my 21st birthday.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I remember this because the girl that was checking my ID said, "Well, close enough," and marked me in to
There
go
you
in.
go.
So I got to drink a beer that night. I drank 1 beer, and I was still underage technically, but she let me in.
A lot more lenient back then.
Very, oh yeah,
Oh,
man.
gosh,
yeah.
for
Because this
sure.
was back in the Stone Ages.
Uh-huh.
But it is true, man.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was, absolutely.
I remember it was, a simpler, as they say, simpler time.
Simpler
but-
time. But I tell you, man, the greatest thing about that show was Warren probably talked to us as much as he played. It was very intimate, more intimate than what we saw.
Exactly.
Because I think, given that 3-hour delay, he had to come in there, bang those songs out, give a good show. But this last time I got to see him, unfortunately, it was the last time I got to see him. It was so intimate. He just talked to us, and he would make fun of his lack of popularity. In fact, he says, "Hey guys, well, it was either this or the Waffle House." And I mean, and the guy could have been a comedian. He got it. He got it, man. He got it. And I tell you, everybody was loving this. That one guy in the back, some asshole, said, "Shut up and play."
Oh, God.
Brothers, y'all, it got real, and it got real quick. Because Warren's like, "Hey, man, fuck you." And when he said that, the whole place got hostile.
Yeah.
I don't know if the guy left or what.
Right.
But he shut the hell up,
Yeah.
man. And Warren played a song, but he was like, "Hey, man, fuck you." And I mean, that whole place turned. I mean, it got hot quick, and it was all against one.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was the Zevon heads
Imagine a whole
versus
crowd
that
just
asshole. Yeah,
turn
turning.
around at you.
Because the man on stage just said, not only the man on stage, but Warren fucking Zevon just said F
Exactly.
you. And yeah, man, but it was a great show, man, because it was intimate. And
I love it
You
when
know,
they do
that's
get
great.
to talk like that because Warren had stories.
yes,
Excuse me. This man, he wrote a song called "Rollin' the Headless Thompson Gunner."
one of my favorites.
And it was written when he was living in Spain over an Irish bar being run by an ex-mercenary. I
Only
mean,
Warren Zevon.
he knew so many fascinating people. I mean, again, like I say, this guy was on the dark side, but
Yes.
Warren understood him, and he understood Warren, and they wrote that song together. That and Jungle Work.
Jungle Work is a great one.
Ooh, Jungle Work's one of those. If you ever have a friend that wants to have a good workout song in their head, that's a good workout.
Play
song.
That one, man.
Oh man, I used to play that back when I was younger and could work out.
You're right.
Or let me just say, did work
Did
out.
work out.
But it was one of those songs that you could just drive it. I mean,
Jam it.
you listen to it and it's a jamming song. It's one of his really good rocking songs.
Yeah, it's one of his more upbeat type songs, and oh yeah, man, it's great. But Rolling the Headless Thompson, that song, once again, man, to me, I think something that makes a good songwriter is when you can listen to this song and see it in your mind's eye.
Right.
And when you listen to Rolling the Headless Thompson Gunner, you see this story. It's almost like a good country or hip hop song.
Exactly.
How they make you see the story, and man, nobody could tell a story musically better than Warren Zevon.
It's like I think a friend of mine once said, Warren writes soundtracks to movies that never got made.
That is the perfect analogy. That truly is, man. When you told me that before, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it 100%.
I think that segues into another friend of his. Speaking of weird friends, music for soundtracks that were never made, Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh,
you can't speak with one without speaking of the other.
exactly.
You can't, man.
If there's nobody out there who hasn't read Thompson, my first suggestion is not his first books, but read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. First book. It will introduce you to a man who was just...
And the movie's great. The movie's probably my favorite movie. I've never read the book. I've watched the movie probably 100 times.
You can say a lot of bad things about Johnny Depp, but he did.
He nailed that brother.
Part awesome.
Him.
I mean, it was just Thompson out the ears. I mean, everything.
That's the thing. I didn't see Johnny Depp in that movie.
No, I saw Hunter Thompson.
Yeah,
I did.
Exactly.
Yes,
You're exactly right.
Yes. And that's another great sign of an artist, man. When you can, there's very few actors that you can just kind of like Jamie Foxx and Ray is another example.
Exactly.
You forget that that's the actor. That's the person they're playing.
And you have to admire the fact that he was able to do that. The Thompson and the Jamie Foxx doing Ray. That they're able to do that without letting their own ego get in the way.
Yeah, man, you're exactly right. They put their craft and their art first.
And you have to admire that. I love anybody who will stand up and say, this is what I'm doing, and not say, look at me first.
Yeah, man. Right. This is Hunter Thompson portrayed by Johnny Depp. Nah, man, that's Hunter Thompson.
Yeah.
By all intents and purposes, for this 2 hours, that's what I want.
Exactly. And it was a great movie. It really was.
Like I said, it's one of my favorites.
It like I say, the visuals on it were stunning. I mean, everything about it. And if you've read the book and you go along with it, you go, I remember that part.
Yes, yeah. And I'll say this much: I may or may not have done some experimenting in the '90s, may or may not. But I've heard that the things they show in that movie are pretty much spot on in real life.
Exactly.
I won't say 100% whether I agree with that or not, but I'm not going to disagree with it. Let's put it like that.
Well, it could be.
It could be. But Mike, you're right, man. You absolutely.
What was his connection?
Just friends.
Yeah,
they were friends.
If like say, artists and people like Warren who are sort of at that level, they attract certain types of people at that level. If you look at somebody like Hunter S. Thompson and his friend Johnny Depp was his friend. Yeah. Warren Zevon was his friend. Billy Bob Thornton is Warren Zevon's one of Warren's best friends, and they actually made a movie together.
Yes, sir.
A Western, believe it or not.
Yes, sir.
And Billy Bob played a gay gunfighter. It was just so weird.
But it makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, I think, and if you look at some of the most interesting people, they will have the most interesting people around them.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Hunter's writing style and Warren's songwriting style were very similar.
They
man.
meshed.
Right.
They really
did. They meshed, man. They're very dark, very humorous. It's almost
the humor.
There's humor in it, but it's that dark, like you're not getting out of here alive.
Yeah.
So you might as well do all the shit you want to do, because you're not getting out.
Right.
And that's how these guys live.
That was it.
It's something, and I know we're jumping ahead just a little bit, but even with Warren's death, unfortunately he passed away in 2003.
Yeah.
Mesothelioma, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Asbestos exposure.
Yeah.
He had the option to start undergoing treatment.
Exactly.
Or he could start working on his last album. The man being the man, he started working on his last album and won him his only Grammy.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. I know we're jumping ahead a little bit.
Exactly.
We're going to his end, but that was something, man, that I really respected, and I think that was just such a good capstone to his life. He was like, well, I can go get cancer treatment, or I can go make an album. He went to make the album, and a damn good album.
It was a damn good album. From not only just from all the people that came to be on it with him, from Springsteen to Jackson Brown to
I think
Henley was on it. Yes. But the writer, talk about writers, another writer that's kind of got an odd sense of humor that wrote the foreword to this book, Carl Hiaasen.
My favorite author.
Exactly. He writes from he's Floridian. Mm-hmm. And he writes from a Florida,
Miami Herald, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
And he's a reporter, but he writes from a Florida point of view where, like, if you've ever seen the headline, Florida man uses alligator to rob drive-thru.
Which is a true headline.
Exactly. That's the way he writes from. Everything about it is he takes it from a funny point of view. A humorous point of view. And it's, like I say, dark but funny. Yeah. And that's kind of like Hunter and Warren.
Yes. And, I'm glad you brought up Hiaasen because I'm not much of a reader, just in general. It's never been my main form of entertainment. But I do, obviously, I do read books here and there. Well, I got turned on to Hiaasen at a Warren Zevon concert. It was when he was playing with the band. And I was talking to this guy, and we just happened to strike up a conversation. He's like, have you heard of Carl Hiaasen? I'm like, no. He was like, well, check out these books. Well, he listed all these books. The only one I remembered, believe it or not, was Striptease. How did that happen?
Really?
But the movie Striptease with Demi Moore was actually based on his book, and Carl Hiaasen hated it because he was not a part of the creative part. They changed it all up.
Yeah, it was a terrible movie.
It was a terrible movie. The book is phenomenal.
Hiaasen did say the only true part about that was when Burt Reynolds, as the crooked politician, got Vaseline. He said that was actually true.
That was in his book, and that's one of the funniest parts of the book because they go into detail.
Exactly, and it is so funny. But, and like you say, Hiaasen is one of those type of guys that you can sort of sit there and read, and every now and then you have to put the book down and say, wait a damn minute.
Say? Yeah, or laugh out loud.
Exactly. I love to laugh out loud at a book.
About a murder.
Exactly.
I read a book, because I won't give any spoilers, but in one of the books, Stormy Weather.
Yeah.
Stormy Weather. Somebody gets killed in a very fucked up way. I'm laughing, and I'm like, damn, I can't believe I'm laughing at the dark humor, dark subject matter. It's funny, man. And once again, just like Warren's music, and it all fits together that all these people would know each other and almost be clicked up in a way. But Wayne, I also don't want to talk just about Warren, man. I'd like to maybe talk about some other musical greats, and maybe even get Mike in on the conversation a little bit.
I'm learning left and right on this. Well, totally fascinating.
Well, I tell you, man, one group of people that we've already kind of touched on that I would like to speak on is that California music scene when Warren was coming up, man, because we talked about most of these guys already, but think about this, man. At one time in one certain part of the country, you had Warren Zevon, you had the Eagles, you had Jackson Brown, you had Fleetwood Mac, where the upstart of the most popular version of Fleetwood Mac was Stevie Lindsay. Obviously Fleetwood Mac had been around previously, but they were about to come into their new level.
It was a huge metamorphosis from where they originated. Huge.
And a lot of those come from a person that I did want to speak on just a little bit from that scene in that era, and that's Graham Parsons.
Oh, yeah.
Graham Parsons from the Flying Burrito Brothers and the Byrds, and solo work as well. Mike, are you familiar with Graham? Because I just recently got turned on to Graham, like within the last few years.
Really?
Graham is one of those forgotten geniuses. He really is. Wayne
Sisk tried to tell me about Graham Parsons when I was 17 years old, and I just kind of went in it one ear and out the other. I got turned back on like I should listen to Wayne when I was 17.
But he's like, say, anybody that was in music at that time, like you say, in California or in Nashville.
Nashville, yes, sir.
He was big in Nashville.
Yes.
Was so influenced by him, and he was influenced by everybody else. He had this genius for music, for not just for music, but for style.
Style, man.
And like I say, it's just a shame that he went so early.
He did. But Wayne, why don't you tell me and Mike, because I know you probably know a little bit more about this story, because I remember you telling me this back in the Country Corner days. What's the story with his casket?
Oh, well, after his untimely demise,
he died early. Right?
Oh yeah, yes, it was so sad. Yes. He after he passed, his bandmates decided, this is not for him. This is not our pal. We do not want this to become sort of like Jim Morrison's grave in Paris, where there's everybody out there
painting,
doing crap. Yeah. So they dug him up from the cemetery, drove him out into the desert under the Joshua trees, and set the casket ablaze.
And set it on fire.
Wow.
Yes, man.
Now-
There's a movie about this.
Oh yeah, it's an awesome movie.
Yeah, it
Who
is.
was in there?
I can't remember. Man, I don't ever do.
And I can't even remember the title, but
It's a good movie.
The visuals on that really make it stark, but it's good.
It is great.
But I mean, you think about your friends that have that much love for you that would do that for you.
That they're going to go up here, dig you up to go burn you, and they didn't get to do it though, right? It didn't work out.
It was. There were some pharmaceuticals and alcohol involved, so that it was not a complete.
I think they tried to burn the whole coffin, and the coffin wouldn't catch fire.
Well,
or
see,
something.
they assumed it was a wooden coffin, which it was
It
not.
was, yeah.
You have to sort of give them, negative points on that for not realizing this ain't wood, guys.
Things have changed since.
I mean,
back in the day.
I mean, it's not like you drop them in back in the old days.
Yes.
That some guy with some plywood, but
Old pine box.
it's the old pine box. They had misinterpreted the old pine box.
But I just thought that was one of the most rock and roll stories.
It is,
man.
and the simple fact of the matter is that the attempt was made, but you got to give them credit for making the attempt.
Yeah.
And like I say, being that
for effort.
being that unsober and all.
Wow.
And didn't they have to travel?
Oh, it was a long way.
It was almost. I don't think it was actually cross country.
No,
but
it was.
It was
a good
it
4
was a
piece.
haul, man. Like they buried him and drove him like for miles.
Oh,
and
yeah, this
miles
was-
to do this thing with a dug up body or a dug up casket, man. I just thought that was so.
Yeah, I'm glad they
rock
did
and
not
roll.
take him out. That would have been even worse.
That would have kind of ruined the legacy a little bit.
Yeah, that would have
you know.
just been bad, with a weekend at Bernie's kind of
Yeah.
deal. Like,
Weekend at Graham's.
yeah, but I mean,
One more encore.
Wow.
The Grievous Angel.
I understand that there's a lot going on in the world today in rock and roll and stuff like that. But the stories back in the day seem to have a little bit more style to them. And
romanticized.
it
a little.
romanticized.
Yes,
I guess
yes.
over the years, anything historically can look funny or good. I mean, like I said, you just want to sort of get the flavor of that time period of just what was going on, because there were some really great people, really great music going on. I mean, you look at somebody like you say, Don Henley and the Eagles when they were out.
Man. Yes.
When they were first starting, they were looked down upon.
Yeah.
And it just amazes to me that so many people started off with such low expectations. I mean,
and see how far they came
exactly.
up, man. And the Eagles, like, people hate the Eagles.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I have friends of mine who absolutely despise the Eagles.
Exactly.
I'm like, how can you hate the Eagles, man? I love the freaking Eagles.
It's almost like they're Nickelback.
Yeah. Ooh, well.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
exactly.
that it is. Me and Mike, a lot of times in our wrestling conversations, there's some wrestlers we really like and look up to that a lot of other people in these communities kind of look down upon. Dusty Rhodes is our main example with this. And I think the Eagles and Dusty can be put in the same category.
Exactly.
Is that people do tend to hate on greatness. They
Right.
just do. I think people like to be different. They like to be against the grain. Well, no, F the Eagles, because I like some obscure band you'll never hear
Right.
again.
Yeah.
It's a whole, hipster.
It is.
trick,
It kind of
But
is.
Cena's another
Cena-
guy
oh,
from
that's-
wrestling that,
Perfect.
this guy's over and we're going to hate him.
Yeah, it just simply
because.
because he's successful and
I saw Ricochet. I like Ricochet. I saw Ricochet before anybody ever saw Ricochet.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's just hating on that greatness, man. And also I get, man, people have their taste. I mean, there's some Eagles songs I'll skip. But all in all, man, I love the freaking Eagles. I love Jackson Brown. Just going back to that era and that style.
Jackson
For me,
had a
it's-
great
it's-
style.
It's the Beach Boys.
Yeah,
That era.
fuck yeah, man.
From where they went from. I still love the bubblegum pop
Sure.
that they did.
Boy band, old school boy band.
Pretty much. That was, basically, yeah.
But they played their own
where it was
instruments,
good.
and,
But look at that
transitioning
talent
into
there.
that
God, yes.
70s to where they were experimenting.
Yes,
They were
man.
really getting into,
Some
this-
psychedelics was coming in.
They were experimenting with everything, music and
There's no denying the talent there. I mean, this incredible voices and musical ability. It's just
Right.
amazing.
And Pet Sounds, come
Oh,
on. I mean,
God.
Pet
Yeah.
Sounds is a freaking
Yeah.
masterpiece, man.
Anybody that
Even if
doesn't
you-
have that in one of their top
Right.
10 lists of albums is crazy.
And I mean, and that's one of those, like, I'm not a huge Beach Boys fan. Honestly, I mean, I'm not going to put in Surfing USA, in my spare time, but I might put Pet Sounds on in my spare
Absolutely.
time. You know
Exactly,
what I'm saying? That's the
exactly.
thing, man. That album transpired everything.
And like I say, it was not just so much that it was just, Brian Wilson doing his own thing, but it was just so much of him saying, let's push it a little bit. Let's push it a little bit.
Let's get out of this comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes if you go out of your comfort zone, you fail, which is not bad.
I mean, man, you can't say you fail.
Exactly.
I mean, really.
But I think on this, he just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
man.
just astounding.
Hey, and we're still talking about it right now.
Exactly.
You know, and I mean, that's a great example, Mike.
And another band, that kind of, I don't want to say, they were in a race or anything, but the Beatles, they seem to.
Who I consider to
that
be
same way.
Yeah.
I consider them to be the first boy band.
Exactly.
And I love the Beatles. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No,
I mean that in a
But
positive
it was
way.
like
They
that
paralleled.
70s hit, and they
Kind of went
did.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
experiment.
Yes.
Let's make good stuff.
Yeah. Let's
Not,
take
not
some
that
acid and let's see what we can do.
exactly. Not
Yeah.
not to sell records and make the record company
They
lots
quit-
of money.
They quit touring. The Beatles actually
Right.
stopped touring. They're like, we're going to concentrate on our albums.
Yep.
And my God, look what we got. I mean, we got Revolver. I mean, all the way up to Sgt. all the way up to Let It Be.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that stuff,
Yes,
man.
it's great.
White
stuff.
Album.
The-
And then you talk about attracting characters and people
Like Charlie Manson.
Charlie Manson.
Which, hey, bro.
And there was a connection there between him and Brian Wilson.
Wilson,
No,
yeah.
Dennis Wilson. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
well, that's right.
Yeah.
It was Dennis. Yeah, you're
Dennis
right.
Wilson.
Right.
And it's just there's a whole nother story in that.
And you know what, man? I'm going to see if you guys agree with what you're saying, Mike, is something that we ought to maybe talk about sometimes, how this music can have a negative
Exactly.
sometimes influence on people.
Exactly.
And I think the Charlie Manson thing is a damn good, even kind of going into the heavy metal years.
Exactly.
We started seeing some of that stuff come around, especially like now obviously the satanic stuff, was really blowing out, and that was all, I think, all a little bit of propaganda to sell albums,
yeah.
But it did have some
to
negative.
make it a little dangerous.
Yes,
A little
it's a selling
dangerous.
point.
We've got to have it. Parents hate it.
I always say, man, the best thing that ever happened to Ozzy was those suicides. As sad as it is, I don't mean that to be.
I think it may have been the bat more than the suicides.
sorry?
The bat.
Oh, yeah.
Everything with the bat and the doves and everything.
The biting the heads off.
Yeah.
Because nobody talks now, even with suicides. Nobody
Not really.
brings that up, but they will bring up
bat.
every time
Yeah.
that bat.
And priests maybe had gotten a little bit more for us. So, and man, I'm not trying to make light of these.
No.
So I hope people out there listening understand. I'm not making light, but I swear to God, it was publicity, and it was the kind of publicity that sold albums. Man, it was. It made it dangerous, like you said.
I think music can influence you to a good or bad degree.
Absolutely.
I've spent many nights, feeling depressed, listening to the good music to bring me out of it.
Yes, sir.
And I've also heard a song that will just, all of a sudden will just remind me of
Put you
something
back here
and break me down.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
it's all in how you're able to deal with it. And I'm not making light of anything people go through, because I have had, people I've known who have taken their lives, and you sit there and you say, what could I have done, or what happened, what caused this? But at most, it's usually a mystery. I mean, it's usually just, and
so
you can't
deep,
you can't put a measurement on what someone's either physical or psychological pain is, and how much they can just take. I mean, really. But like I say, I think music can influence you, but I don't think it can be the actual causation.
Right. But it can definitely push you in any way. I mean, it's the same thing, man. Like let's take working out in the gym.
Exactly.
Earlier, man. If you're going to get in that gym, you're probably going to be in there anyway. But let's face it, man. You put on some Scorpions or something, that's going to help you go a little bit. That's going to help you get on.
AC/DC.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. And kind of talking about a negative influence now. I'll go ahead and speak on this a little bit. I don't want to touch on it too much because I don't want to get too controversial. But I'm a huge hip-hop fan, especially back from the 90s on into the early 2000s. Man, I've kind of gotten out of it recently. I'm not much into recent. But one thing I'll say about old school hip-hop, as much as I love it and as much as I think those messages and a lot of things said needed to be said, because let's face it, man, NWA, especially Public Enemy, now these are kind of different, obviously. NWA is a little bit more street, where Public Enemy is a little bit more political. But they both were saying things that need to be said. But once you started getting that gangster stuff, man, and once you started pushing those limits, well, you can't go back.
Yeah.
You got to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
And I do think a lot of the hip-hop stuff could get pretty negative, man. When you're talking about drive-bys and, sometimes rapes, I mean, there's pretty negative stuff. But at the same time, a lot of the stuff that these bands or groups were talking about were stuff they were seeing every day, like country music. You know, a lot of people don't understand when I'm over here like, hey, y'all don't see how hip-hop and country are so similar. You're crazy. It's on the opposite ends of the spectrum. I hit people, nah, man, it's about what's really going on. You know, now some of the poppier stuff, yeah, it kind of, you know, it loses its soul, I think, a little bit.
Right.
But I just kind of wanted to bring up hip-hop briefly, you know, just because we're talking about negativity and positivity. And it's one of those, you know, hip-hop is one of those genres that kind of did both. Because you had to bring out the negativity that these people were witnessing every day in their life, and the best way to do it is through music. But then it can popularize that negativity. So we got to be cool, man, and you got to be able to, I guess, distinguish reality from the entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, just like with the horror movie, you can't go put on a hockey mask and go out killing people.
Right.
Same thing, you can't listen to an NWA album, go out and start doing drive-bys. You know, things like this.
Well, and you saw that a lot with, you know, like you said, you started seeing it more in the 90s. Some in the 80s, but mostly in the 90s and the 2000s, where you know, different genres of music. Right. So your hip hop, your emo, I would even say to a certain point country in that. Because if you ever seen somebody wearing, you know, cut off blue jeans and cowboy boots,
that's country.
That's country.
That's country,
that's
man.
country.
Yeah,
but it start taking on that lifestyle.
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, you're right. It's almost like hip hop kind of brought that street to the main street.
Right.
You know, it's almost like it brought the back street to the main street.
Yeah.
You know, and it really did. And I mean, the thing is, man, that back street was always around. You know, but I do think us as a society, we do have to be cool with where we start drawing the lines, because, man, we are influenced by our music. You know, hey, man, when we were coming up, we were the metalheads.
We
had long hair. I wore black t-shirt. You know, Wayne remembers that.
Yeah,
you know, when I first met Wayne, I had hair down.
You start taking on that lifestyle.
You start emulating the music, and, you know, metal can be pretty damn negative, too.
It can.
You know, it absolutely can be negative. I was kind of picking on hip-hop, but let's be honest, man, you can't listen to a metal album and go out here and cannibalize people.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
You can't do it.
You can't do it, people.
They frown upon that.
Yeah, we don't like that, you know. But it's just, it goes to show how important music is, man. Not just to us individually, because like you said, Wayne, I'm the same way, man. I can be depressed, I can put on a song, and man, it can bring me up. I can be in a good mood, I can put on something, and it'll take me back to a moment that just broke my heart. You know, there's certain Warren Zevon songs, man. Hasten Down the Wind got me yesterday, Wayne. I was doing my research. It's a wonderful song, Mike. You ought to check it out. It's a something we didn't talk about Warren Zevon is his ballads.
Oh yeah.
And how beautiful he could write songs,
it was,
man.
And sing them too. He had an unusual voice, but it was a great voice. I mean, I like I like the sound, the timbre of his voice. I really do. Some people do not, but you know, you just have to sort of give it a listen.
He's not for everybody.
He's not again, and like I say, I never ever want to say you have to like something.
Me either.
Because you don't. Right. But just, you know, give it a chance. If you don't like it, fine.
And you know what? I'm gonna give somebody a shout out. And Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, man, I've been a little slack with giving our shout outs on the podcast. That changes today. Yeah. I got slack as hell this week, man. Oh man, yeah. Anyway, I got to give a shout out to Chad Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
A friend of all of ours. We all know Chad. Everybody at this table knows Chad.
Well, that was a topic I was going to go into next. Actually, you know, speaking
Chad's
of Chad,
birthday yesterday.
Yeah, it was Chad. Yes,
right.
yes.
Happy birthday, Chad.
Yeah, Chad. I did not. I meant to send him a message, and damn, I forgot.
You're talking about meeting Wayne for the first time at Country Corner. First time I met Wayne was at Discworks.
What? What was Discworks? What? What? What's Discworks?
It was Lincolnton's very own first ever music store.
Bullshit. Lincoln never had a music store.
I'm talking about Neil's Music. I'm not talking.
You mean like a CD store?
Absolutely.
No,
yes,
not
sir.
Lincolnton.
Yep.
Man, I got to be honest with you, Mike. Since you're here, Wayne, something that used to piss me off about some of my friends in Lincoln, they would steal from Discworks, which is why Discworks had to go out of town. Now, these are the same assholes who bitched about having to drive to freaking Gastonia Hickory to buy their music.
Yep.
Well, now you have to drive 5 minutes. Well, now let's go steal from them.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, man. They only told me that one time. I had one person.
That's what they were bitching about.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I got to drive all the way out here to steal something.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
But Discworks was awesome, man.
Yeah.
We tried. We really did.
You did.
It was.
And thank you.
It was
thank you for time.
It was an awesome place. Oh my God, it was such an awesome place. And I would stay in there for probably about an hour, maybe even a few hours, just digging for industrial, goth, anything
stuff you
like
couldn't
that.
really find anywhere else, man.
It was just imports. I'll never forget. I still have a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
In there in the office.
Yes.
You know, Ministry imports. You know, it had 3-track import of NWO.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember that because, dude, we jammed the shit out of that
Yeah,
CD.
because it had that extended,
extended
mix of
Yes.
NWO. Oh my god,
We would play the hell out of that, man.
Yeah,
Dude, and I had a friend that worked there named Wayne Sisk, and he would hook me up with posters. I still have that Warren Zevon poster.
There you go.
This man hooked me up with a Warren Zevon. Well, it was a pendant.
Oh, yeah.
But it got messed up over the years, and it got kind of screwed up. But
Just like Warren.
just like. But the cool thing about it, man, it was double-sided. One was the Mutineer album.
Yeah.
On the back was Old Velvet Nose.
Yeah.
Old Velvet Nose was intact. I was able to cut it out and print it, and I have it framed in my room today.
There you go.
I still have that.
There you go.
The one I missed was that Van Halen poster you hooked me up with. Chris Rance, another shout out to Chris Rance. He's got it somewhere. It's floating around somewhere. But
Discworx was
great.
it was a dream of a friend of mine, Scott Beal, who's no longer with us.
Yes, rest in peace.
And he wanted to have a place where people could get music. People don't remember back in the day when music was on an item.
Yeah,
I mean,
physical
item.
Physical, yes.
And you know, you can't. I'm not going to be an old fogey and say, "Oh, I miss those days." I kind of do, but I like the fact you can get music you want now at a touch of a button. I like that. But back in the day, even with albums and CD packets, you got the artwork, you got the liner
lyrics,
notes,
man.
lyrics,
Yes.
the lineup of the the artist playing, the guest playing on it, and I miss that. And we tried to make it a place where every kind of music was included. We had, like you said, death metal. We had hardcore rap. You
did. The best rap shit I got at Discworx.
The thing of it is, and I actually had a parent come to me one time angrily saying, "My son, who is 14 years old, bought this from your location, and it has a parental advisory on it." And my only question was, "Where the hell were you?"
Where were you at? Yeah.
I said, "I am not his parent."
Right.
And he said, "Well, it's against the law." I said, "No, it's not." I said this, and I'll say this to this day: if they had made a law that said I cannot sell that to your child, I will not, because I'm not going to do it. But if your child is in there with money, I figure that child, where your child is.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's great music stores are gone. I really miss them because, like you said, you could go in there and find and look, and it was not so much the music; it was the adventure of the search or meeting people.
Atmosphere.
It was
exactly
yes.
Meeting people that knew about the music and talking about it. I mean, that's one of the best things that Jason and I ever did to become friends was talking about music.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, we worked together, but I mean,
you got something to talk about.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that I have worked together that I was never friends with.
Right.
And you have to have a common interest or common ground.
Yeah. Exactly, man. And just be good people, man. And one thing I was going to bring up about Chad, and I'm glad you brought up Discworx because, well, before I bring Chad back up, let me tell you my favorite Discworx story. Wayne told me this one. I don't know if you remember this or not. And I wasn't there for it, but once again, being a hip hop fan, I was a really huge Eazy-E fan. You know that, man. I used to jam Eazy-E all the time. Well, he had a song out called "Real Motherfucking G's." Okay. Do you remember this, Wayne? Okay. Well, Easy had to spell it with a PH instead of an F. Wayne, do you want to tell the rest of it? Okay, all right. Well, we coming in, and I think I'm even asking for it or looking at it. Wayne's like, yeah, I had a guy in here the other week or the other day. It was said, hey, man, is this real mother pahuckin' G's? He called it mother pahuckin' G's.
I laughed about that for a whole day.
Did he have a friend with him?
Yeah.
And the friend was like, shut up, man. Or something.
Got on. Look bad.
Yeah. Got on to him. You had to get on to him about it, man.
I love that. That was one of the best stories. Oh, God, I love that.
Wait,
I'm sure you got so. Hey, how about this Nin album?
Nin, yeah.
Nin, the 9 Inch Nails.
Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor Nin album.
I actually had a young woman come in to buy she wanted to buy the single of the song "Closer."
Yeah.
With the line in it, and she didn't know the name of it, and she was just this adorable little girl, and she must have been about like 19 or 20, and I'm this lecherous old man, and she comes up to me and she goes, and she's looking at her friend's going, and she goes, finally she goes, I want to. You like an animal? And I said, I'm sorry, what?
What now?
Can you repeat that?
And I said,
Pardon me, miss?
I said, a little slower, a little breathier in this ear.
Yeah.
And
this is the day. This is the
day.
day.
This is the day. The day it happens.
And like I said, those kind of things were just so funny. I had a lady come in one time, And this was one of my prouder moments. Like I say, this was the days before you had, what is it? The songs, the apps where you can listen to a song and tell you what it is. What are those?
Oh, like Shazam.
Shazam, thank
stuff
you.
like that. Right,
this was in the days before Shazam, and we had no real computers back then. This was in the 90s. And people would come in and give us lyrics, and we'd have to try to figure out what songs they were talking about. And this lady came in, and she's telling me the word Tougaloo. And I'm stumped. And then finally it dawns on me. Do you mean Tupelo? And she goes, yes. I said, Tupelo, honey? She goes, yes. I said, Van Morrison.
Bam.
And I heard it.
That's
Living encyclopedia.
You know, that's.
I said Wayne Sisk is an encyclopedia. Yeah. My God.
Yeah.
There it is.
We had another gentleman come in. It was a day where we used to sell tickets in there for concerts.
Yeah, you sure damn did. I love that.
And I was selling tickets like crazy. I don't remember what concert it was. It might have even been a Tom Petty, another great artist.
Oh yes,
a Tom Petty concert that was coming to town. And there was a man over there at one of the other aisles talking to one of the other workers. I think it might have been Chad. And he's giving him the lyrics, and he's going, and Chad's going, say it again. He goes, what would you say? What would you say? What would you say? What would you say? And then we finally realized he was talking about that Dave Matthews song, What Would You Say? And it's all in the way you say it. It's all in the way you say it.
Yep.
It is. It really is.
Yep.
And, you know, one thing I was going to say about Chad, before the original thing I was going to say when it comes to Warren Zevon, we all know Chad Jefferson very well. Mm-hmm. Chad's pretty open-minded with music, man. He will give everything a chance, man. In fact, another reason why me and Chad have been friends for so long was our love for music. Could not get into Warren.
Nope.
I tried, man. I hooked him up with a CD. He hollered at me.
That's strange.
Yeah, he was like, brother, I just cannot get into it. But he gave it a chance, man. That's what I love about Chad. He's open-minded, but it just, once again, man, wasn't his thing.
But now another thing I got Chad into that you might be surprised about is the original blues singer, Robert Johnson.
Oh, yeah, the Crossroads.
Crossroads.
Yes, sir.
I got Chad to listening to that, and I would come into the store on days where Chad would be there by himself, and he'd be playing it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's how much he liked it because, if nobody's out there has heard of Robert Johnson, you should because, like I say, he's one of the icons of American music.
Man, legend.
And everything about his story is so bizarre and everything, but it's just awesome. And like I say, if you get into it, and like you say, there are other people that never got into Robert.
Exactly, right.
But and I remember one time playing it, and there was a young lady I was seeing at the time, and we broke up soon after this. But she goes, when is this noise going to stop?
Get out, woman.
And at some point, I think it was first thing that flashed through my head was, after we're done, get out. But
right.
You're here for 15 to 20 more minutes.
5 to 10.
It's so strange because
damn it, man.
I think back on that, and it was right around 2000 that a movie came out that I was like, wow, that's the experience, and that was High Fidelity.
Oh yes.
When High Fidelity came out, I was like, oh my God, it transformed me back to that time.
Yes.
It was just like, okay, this is good music. You don't like this music?
Get out! I'll see you.
That was, I'm sorry to say, that was Discworks. We were snobs all to be darned.
But that's the thing, though, man. But that's why I loved it, man, because we could be snobby together, man. It's like
women would come in with their daughters looking for the newest boy band sensation.
Get the hell out of here!
And we just sort of look at them like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, we got the new Skinny Puppy album.
Yeah. How about the Butthole Surfer?
We got some good stuff here. Gigi Allen, perhaps.
Yes. Your tiny little daughter should listen to Gigi Allen. No, that's so bad. But
that'd be great.
we were snobs. I will say this. I'm sorry to say this, but we were snobs. We were, and we
see. I think you were more tuned in, man.
Yeah.
I don't think it's being snobbish.
I'm sitting there
being tuned in.
Yeah, I'm sitting there watching High Fidelity, going, "Oh my God, that's us. That's us."
But it is. I mean, and I'm the same way. And the older I get, man, the more open-minded I try to be about different styles of music. Obviously, we all like different things. Punk music is one that I've talked about. I don't get into punk, but man, I get it.
Right. Yeah.
I totally understand why people do, man. It's raw, it's organic, it's real.
Yeah.
Just not for me, man. But I just think it's hilarious that we're all kind of maybe a little elitist. I mean,
exactly.
Just to put it out there.
Exactly.
That was one of those things that was brought up in that movie. You guys are snobs. You're a music elitist.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, we also know what's good. And
Yeah,
what is
and
it?
that's the point.
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
the point, I think.
And it's also knowing that even though you don't like, once again, I'll use punk music as an example. Even that, like me personally, I don't like it, but I get why you do. So I'll honest to God look at me like, hey, man, I hear you on that. I don't hear it myself, but I hear you. But maybe you're going to come in here with some like little Yahtzee shit or something. Once again, get the hell out. God bless you, but get the hell out. You know, I mean, maybe one day you'll figure it out. But I mean,
Gosh.
it's almost like the Big Lebowski.
Oh,
with the Eagles, you know, I always go back. In fact, me and a friend of mine were on Facebook because he doesn't like the Eagles, and we made a little Eagles reference. I'm like, get the fuck out of my cab. You know, just like in the Big Lebowski. Oh, come on, man, not the Eagles. I hate the fucking Eagles. Get the fuck out of my cab, you know. And I feel like that. I mean, you know, seriously.
It's like I say, I understand you want to know what's good, but you have to sort of, understand other people have different tastes.
Absolutely.
But like I say, we were snobs.
Well, it's not our fault that their tastes suck.
Exactly. You were obviously brought up wrong.
Yes. Somebody, your parents failed somewhere in your upbringing, you know. But you know,
what a great place! I mean,
Discourse was awesome, man.
That was the feel, man. That was the atmosphere. It was just everything about it was.
And knowing the people that worked
fantastic.
there just made it that much better.
Yeah.
And you know, Wayne, you brought up the Ticketmaster. I love that, man.
I
Back
forgot
in the
about
day.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah,
We could
Fuck yeah,
sell
man.
you tickets.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't have to camp out. You didn't have to wait on. I mean,
No.
you could just there were a couple of tickets there. It'd be jamming. There.
Yeah.
There was a
Yeah.
couple times we
Yeah.
did have to wait in line, but there was a couple times I got Skinner tickets up there.
Oh, yeah.
I went straight up. Hey Wayne, give me a couple tickets. Yeah, here you go, brother. Done and
Yeah.
done.
The thing of it is, like when you have a long line for anything, like we used to sell back in the day tickets for the Hornets and the Panthers.
Oh, okay, right.
Because they were available on Ticketmaster before they
right.
before computers became making it easier, of course.
Right.
Which you gotta admire that now.
Sure.
But the thing of it was, people did not understand the concept. They thought I had like a stack of tickets behind.
Oh yeah,
me.
you just hand them out.
Yeah. This was actually being printed up on a computer.
Yeah.
And I'd say, all right, I have 2 in row 12, center aisle. Got anything closer? No, I don't. Can you check? How do I do that?
It's like you tell me.
I said,
tell me.
seriously, how do I do that?
You
Well,
got any in the back?
Yeah, seriously, man. Give me the ones you got. Yes. Come on, man.
Oh damn.
and I'm sitting there and
like
I'm
the
going, I'll go
70s.
like this. I'll go, look, I said, if I let these go, they're gone. I said, because you have to realize they're being sold at every Ticketmaster
right.
around North Carolina at this very same time. If you want them, fine. If I let them go, they are gone. And they could not grasp that.
They still had that mentality of physical things.
Yeah.
In other words, that you have them printed out. You know
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
have the betters. It's almost like the best milk's at the back.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not
Yep.
like that.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
I mean, seriously, though, it's not like that.
I love that.
But you know, man, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like with the physical media. You
Yeah.
know? And you know, Wayne, Mike, that's something that I do miss. I do like the convenience of our modern music consumption. I do like just being able to go online and just buy a song or an album, you know, and have it immediately.
Yeah.
But man, there was something about, and I know, Mike, in the podcast, we're probably going to talk about back in the day. I'm sure we're going to do some a lot of shows on that. But man, there was something almost real, like a ritual. Like you go to the music, especially like back in our day, because we always went together. We go as a group of people.
You never went to the music store by yourself.
Never. Unless it was like an honest guy.
Exactly.
I want to go in and get this one CD and go. But man, usually it was, let's make a day of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you would
know.
search. You would look.
Yes.
What's this? Have I heard of this?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you would go through everything
Yeah.
and not just go to get. No, I mean there would be that occasional time. Well, I want this new Van Halen album, for instance. You know, the new one. I'm going to Discourse Balance. When that happened with Balance, I went and I got it. You know, but usually, man, it was like we would go together. Our friends would go, and like you said, man, we had talked to the people that worked there. You know, you go through every single CD. Hey, did you get any new imports in this week? One of the few places you could get imports was
man,
Discourse.
that was so important.
Yes.
To me, but yeah, it's just getting all the 9-inch nails, all the halos.
Yes.
Every halo that was put out. So I wanted to hear everything, and there's like this big like anal retention thing. I had to listen to, everything, every mix that he did of every song that was
Absolutely.
on that Downward Spiral album.
'Cause
I had to have it.
Because I know, Mike, you were much more into like the industrial scene. I always liked industrial music, but you turned me on to industrial, and I loved what you turned me on to. But I know you was always more into it. And really, man, I don't know if people out there listening understand the importance of the imports to the industrial scene, especially somebody getting into DJing or just into the club scene or just the music scene in general. Because you couldn't get them at your Camel music or Camelot music. You had to go to Discworks, man,
Yeah.
or a store like that dealt in these things, man. It was a big deal. Is what I'm trying to say, man. It was a big deal when you had these imports, you know. But yeah, man. I mean,
fantastic place. It was a shame that everybody had to ruin that.
It is, man.
But after Lincolnton,
you guys
actually
moved.
We went to Huntersville
Right.
and to the shopping center that's still there on Sanford Road, the Target, and we were right in between the frame shop and the Great Clips, and we had a really good time there too.
Y'all was there for a little while.
We were there for about at the year 2000 when the downloads really started.
Yeah.
We did okay, and then when 2000 hit, we could just sort of see the bottom drop off. We moved one more time to a smaller little shopping center.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we moved over to into Cornelius, into a little shopping center there. We made it much.
I remember Cornelius.
We made it about half the size of this store now, and we just tried to hang on, and it just couldn't do it.
It was a dying industry, man.
It really was.
It
And the sad part about it was we would have people who would go to the Target just around our corner and buy a CD from them. Now, I will admit we had to, because of, like you say, the imports and the other things we had to have a slightly bigger markup.
Sure.
Right.
Well, you also can get them in bulk like these big stores do either.
Exactly. But they would buy a CD from Target at $13.77. They come back and see we were selling it for $14.77. Now, I'm sorry, I just don't think that's that much of a difference.
I don't either, man. And I know, Mike, you being a small business owner could probably
get it all the time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a sad thing that they can't support a local business. I mean, pay
for a freaking dollar.
Exactly,
man.
for a dollar.
Yeah,
for a dollar. And you know, it's I don't want to get off on a rant here.
No,
but
you
like
can,
said,
brother.
Absolutely.
Do it.
But like I say, it's just so sad that people don't seem to realize the effect they have. And I understand, cheap is good,
and every dollar counts.
Every dollar counts.
Sure,
when you're out there making a living, and God knows we're all trying to make a living.
Absolutely.
But give them a chance, for goodness sakes.
Saying, man.
And we would also, I don't know if you remember, the Worx cards.
Yeah, I do remember. Oh, hell, I ain't thought about it.
For every $10 you spent, we'd stamp it.
That's right.
And every card you got filled up, you got a free CD.
Free CD, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's a free CD.
It balances out after a while. Man.
And we used to have one of our more famous customers was Dale Earnhardt Jr. back over in
Oh,
Harrisburg.
no, that I didn't know.
Oh, he was a music fiend.
I had no idea.
And
That's
he
cool.
liked everything. He liked hip hop. He liked rock. He liked some country.
Right.
And he would come in there he would usually come in there every time with a very lovely young lady.
Oh, no, that I don't know.
Different one usually. But he was
Good for him.
He was not overtly friendly. He was a nice kid at the time.
Right.
And and we knew who he was, but we didn't try to make a big deal out of it.
Right.
And
Cool.
but he would fill up one card in one visit.
So he'd get a free CD.
Oh, and a free CD, and he would just say, "Thanks, guys," and leave. Walking out with this huge thing.
Yeah,
I mean, like I say,
cool.
and that's the way it was back in the day. If you wanted music, you wanted it then and there.
Yeah,
you had to
right.
get it immediately,
Right.
which is what we were able to do.
And I think, man, that, as we've moved into this new way of consuming music, personally, man, I miss that physical part. I miss holding it in my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Especially vinyl.
Do you still have all your vinyl?
No, I actually sold my collection, man. Now I did keep my 180 gram pressings. I kept those.
I have a stack like this left. That's all I have.
Really?
Most
Really?
of it's gone. I still have most of my CDs, but like I say, and I sad to say I still have some cassettes and 8-tracks.
I wish I still had my cassettes. I wish I had
don't.
those, man. I do. I wish I'd have saved them, man. I had some collectible stuff in there, man. Oh, I had.
At that point,
God, I had hundreds.
I've still got all the CDs, everything. Most of the vinyls, I kind of weeded out the vinyls for room's sake.
Right. Yeah, they do take up room.
Oh,
yeah, for real.
And there was some unnecessary stuff in there. Cassettes, dude, there is no way.
Right.
There is no. I remember how many cassettes I had.
Oh, I had hundreds.
Oh,
with
God.
an S.
There is.
with an
There
S.
is no. I look at cassettes now. Even still, I'll run across some weird stuff. Nails cassette or Motley Crue, like Shout the Devil.
Oh,
cassette.
yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
it and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's so cool. And I had to stop myself. It's like, don't do it, because you're just gonna get back into that.
Back into that collecting of those things. And I tell you the truth, man. Speaking of cassette tapes, there's a little record store in Valdez.
Mm-hmm.
Played Again, I believe it's Played Again albums, man. Records, I'm sorry. Cool little place. If you guys haven't been, it's cool. I love
It
going
is
in there.
cool.
It's almost a throwback to what we were just talking about. Because
Right.
the guy that works in there, you can talk to him, man. He's very knowledgeable. But man, he's got a wall of cassettes. I made a joke one day. We're just kind of shooting the shit a little bit. And I was like, "Oh man, you sell a lot of cassettes?" He's like, "That's probably what we sell more than anything." I'm like, "No way."
Crazy.
You know why? I wouldn't have thought about this because people still drive old cars with cassette decks in them.
Exactly.
And he said that people come in and buy them for the cars.
I'm surprised they still work though.
No, well, some of them older cars, though, man, they'll drive forever.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I mean,
you
the
get some from
cassette
the 80s.
deck.
Oh, the
cassette deck.
yeah. The mechanics are fine, man.
Yeah,
Some old-
right.
set deck is.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's just like I say the I used to not just be at Discworks, but I would go to other record stores
Sure.
for the same reason you went to Discworks. It's just for the camaraderie,
Yeah.
the getting to know, the knowledge. You would meet some of the best people,
Yes.
and we would try to have discussions about music, things like that. We were a little bit nuts, but we love to talk about music and things.
Yeah.
And it was one of those great things. Like I said, if you travel around enough, you're going to meet some really good people and listen to some good music, and that's one thing I do kind of really miss about it.
Yes.
Just the experience of going in there and talking to somebody about it. And like I say, people say, well, I talk online to someone. So, yeah, it's
not the same, man.
It
It's not.
really isn't.
You can't gauge that.
It's not interpersonal,
Yeah.
man.
And like I say, I'll send a message to a friend every now and then who's I haven't seen in a few years, and I'll send a text message to him, and it's good.
Sure.
Like I say, I'd like to sit down and talk to you, man.
I like to look at. I don't even like talking on the phone, man. I would
Oh,
much
I
rather just
despise
sit.
talking on the phone.
I like this. What the three of us
Yeah.
are doing right now, man,
Exactly.
is what I like. And speaking of like record stores and stuff, let's bring up Selector Records.
Oh yeah,
Out of Hickory.
that used to
Wow.
be an awesome.
Yeah.
I
place.
love that place,
Yeah.
man. That and Discworks was always
Yeah.
my two to go to.
That was an awesome
The
place.
one thing I liked about Selector, maybe a little over Discworks, was their vinyl selection.
Oh, they had the
They
vinyl.
had a
I
great
remember,
vinyl, and
yeah.
they also had some really good bootleg VHS.
bootlegs were
man.
good.
Yes, dude. They would have the concerts.
That's true.
One of my most regrettable things I've ever lost or misplaced in this world, man. I had a Mother Love Bone VHS bootleg, and it was perfect quality, man. It is floating somewhere in Lincoln County,
Right.
man. I lost it decades ago.
Yeah.
I can't even find it on YouTube, man. I've looked for this thing. I cannot find it. Mother Love Bone's another group that doesn't get enough love. I know me and Mike are
Yeah.
Are you
Oh,
a
yeah,
fan?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I wasn't
And-
sure if you were or not.
And you
but-
just like say the things like that, and groups that like say don't get enough attention when you have something like that. It's a tangible thing that you
Yes.
can actually hang on to, and I love that.
Yes.
And like say, and to throw off on kind of an odd turn here, but like I say, worked at RadioShack.
Oh, that's right. Radio Shack.
Yes.
Shout out.
And the thing about it that there's some guy did a documentary on why they failed, and it was on YouTube, and I wrote this huge comment, and he sent me back, "You're wrong," but
It's like, dude, I was there.
but the thing of it was, I got a lot of responses of people saying, that's what I saw.
Right.
But the thing about it is, with Radio Shack, they didn't realize they, and I don't like to sound like I'm bitter. But when the money men take over a business, they don't care about anything except the money.
The money.
Right.
That's it.
Radio Shack could have been one of these great places where, like, it was a music store. People come in.
I loved Radio
Yes.
Shack, man.
People
Yes.
would come in. They would want to
I
say,
love it.
"I'm building this.
Yes.
What have you got? I'm making this. What have you got?" But they were so concentrated on the quick buck. I mean, it's
Yep.
just that's one thing. Sad thing about business people in America today, they're so concentrated on the big buck.
Yeah.
If you will look at some of the biggest times when a stock price of a company has gone up, it's when they've laid off like about 300 or 400
Yeah,
workers.
yeah. And they
Yeah.
profit off of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
And
yeah.
it's so sad that the people are not worried about building a business. They're worried about just getting what they can't, just squeezing it dry.
man.
Yep.
It's funny because me and Mike, before you got here, we were having a little economic discussion of. But yeah, man, I think we're all on
They
agreement.
talked about that with Walmart.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
were talking about Walmart just in the
Exactly.
same way, man. Once again, big corporate comes in. But I remember one time I would like to pop in on you when you worked at Radio Shack. I'd pop in case you just see what's going on. And I know you were having a bad day, and I hope it's okay to talk about this. Because Wayne was like, "Yeah, man, my boss just got on to me about not bringing enough people in," and we know where the Radio Shack was located here in Lincoln. So I look outside and I'm like, "Well, Jesus, man, there's what the hell they want you to do?" I mean. That's what I cannot get my head. Obviously, you couldn't wrap your head around it either. We're over here like, I mean, man, you can't draw blood from a turnip, man.
Right.
I mean, it's like, Wayne, they want you to get one of them big signs and go out to the corner and twirl the sign around or something. I mean,
I've seen people do it.
Oh,
out
yeah.
there,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
Oh yeah, I got I would get all the banners I'd want and sit them out there at the road, you know,
Yep.
and you can't see them from where they
no,
were.
man. No,
That was, I mean, when Radio Shack first opened up here in Lincolnton, it was a prime location
Yes,
because there was
yes.
a grocery store
Yep.
on either end.
Yes, sir.
Or no, excuse me, there was a grocery store, Winn-Dixie over here, and I think
Papa's
remember,
Pizza?
it was
Papa's
Sky
Pizza.
City and
Sky
Papa's
City.
Pizza.
Papa's Pizza. Was,
But
Oh,
that
that was the
was
best,
great
man.
pizza.
Oh, my God, it was so
God,
good.
it was so good. I used to go over there for lunch at Radio Shack all the
yeah,
time.
man. Yeah, Papa's was off
But the thing
chain.
of it was, it had foot traffic,
Yes.
and people would come in there and look around it.
And there wasn't a whole lot of strip malls around here at that
No.
time either,
No.
man. It was one of the few we had, you know.
Well, if you would go back to the old pictures there, on the side of the road there where the Walmart was and where everything, that was just fields.
It was fields,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I think like a pond was down there.
Yeah,
people would
absolutely.
go fishing down there. You
Yeah.
know, now it all is grown up.
But and like I say, it's one of those things is like I said, and people don't realize how important something like that could be. We would have people come in. I had and I just have little things like I had a little lady come in one time. She was having trouble with her GPS. Well, now she didn't buy anything from me, but I fixed her GPS.
You helped her
for
out, man. Yeah.
I mean, she could probably not have gone anywhere else that would have helped her. I mean,
right? Not without buying something.
not without buying something. And maybe, and I'm not saying they would, but maybe she could have walked into a Best Buy and they would have helped her. But I'm not. There's no guarantee.
No,
Right.
especially a big store like that, man.
Exactly.
They probably keep.
And she didn't even buy the GPS from me, and I'm like say,
Still helped her out.
but I mean, it's not going to hurt me to help
No.
her.
It's just like it doesn't hurt anybody to really help somebody out, man. And we're losing that, I think we've lost a little bit of that in this society, and but man, just going back to kind of like the whole Radio Shack thing. If I'm not mistaken, Wayne, and you can correct me, but didn't they at one time even have electrical engineers on premise to help
Exactly.
you with your project?
Exactly.
I mean, they would literally have somebody in there or somebody with a background in electrical and electronics. They would actually help you.
We
with
would
your
actually
project,
have
right?
classes teaching
Yeah, yes.
people electronics. We would actually even have. They actually at one time required managers to have a ham radio license before
See.
you could be a manager at Radio
See,
Shack.
I didn't know that. Now I had no idea.
And that right there, I think, it says a lot about what they thought was important about
Yes.
being a good customer service person.
and what it went from to what unfortunately it is now. We see where it is now, man. A lot of these
Exactly.
stores have closed down.
They're all
You know.
gone now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went to
Yeah.
there was one last one in Belmont that I rode by the other day, and it's completely
It's gone, man. Yeah.
But the thing of it is they cared about what the customer needed, not what they could try to foist onto
Yeah,
the customer.
and-
I feel so bad that's the way the world is now.
And the thing is, man, once again, not to get into a big economic discussion or anything, because I don't know a lot about economics, but I know enough, man. The more people that are working and the more people that they're contributing, man, the better the economy's going to be for everybody. Those big corporations might not be able to get that last dime out of you, but it's going to be better across the board. But that's my soapbox, man.
Yeah.
Let's
for sure.
We can- well, I'm sorry. Got us off on a tangent. I apologize.
No, absolutely.
No, that's why we're here, bro.
Yeah, exactly, because I don't know if you had this at that time. I worked for a place. I won't mention the place.
It rhymes with Walmart.
I've heard
But
of that.
towards the
heard
end
that
of my
place,
stay there, they had developed a system. It was called a task manager system, and you had to swipe your card for every task you completed.
Okay.
It was.
Come on.
I mean, really, it just took away from that I guess well, you weren't worried about the customers.
It's more as you're worried about getting these tasks
Right.
done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your
Customers
jo-
take a backseat.
They
Exactly.
do.
Your
They
job
do.
became getting this done, not helping that person over there who's trying to
Right.
find something.
Even though this task will be
Sadly,
there
that's
tomorrow.
true.
Yeah.
And that task will still be there when
Yeah.
that customer's being helped out or
Yeah.
something. Well, guys, I tell you what, let's change course a little bit, get back on music because we're probably going to want to start wrapping this thing up here before too
Okay.
much longer. I think, Mike, you got to open up the store in about 15 minutes.
Oh,
give or
yeah,
take.
yeah.
So, and the reason I always said let's wrap it up now because we ain't going to just stop. I mean, this is the process.
This is the whole process. Well, let's see. The one thing I want to do, and I want to do this for all of our guests now, is the top threes.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll go ahead and start this off with top three musicians, band, artist Top 3. No particular order.
Okay.
Top 3 for Wayne.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Or no, I want to do this too.
Top
Oh, wait, we may do this later.
Top 3.
This is going to be for our
Wayne.
guests. Yeah.
All right.
For me, the top 3 are going to be Bruce Springsteen,
That's a good one.
Bob Dylan, and Warren Zevon.
Wow.
That's a damn good top 3, brother.
Yeah.
Those are my
That-
top 3.
Talk about some songwriting powerhouses.
All of
man.
them are
Yes.
songwriters. I
Yes.
think you
Yeah.
sort of see the theme.
Yeah.
Yes, good songwriters, real songwriters too, man. That talk about real things, real themes. You know, man, I want to bring up one music or one artist before we start wrapping up talking about songwriters. That's Ronnie Van Zant, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge Skinner fan. You know that,
Exactly.
man. I've worn my nickname in high school was Skinner, man. So
Right.
there's a reason for that. But you know, I think he's another one of those songwriters that maybe, and I would say songwriter more than singer. I love Ronnie's vocals. Nobody can sing those songs like Ronnie. I don't think Ronnie's my favorite vocalist though. He's up there, but as far as songwriters, man, Ronnie's up there.
Yeah.
I mean, man, the songs that he would write about. Same thing with Springsteen. Same thing with you know, Dylan as well. You know, Warren can kind of go out a little bit on, but you know, sometimes Wayne, and just let me before I get to that, I like to throw Ronnie in here while we're going to have a discussion on genius, especially songwriters. You know, I want to definitely throw Ronnie. But Warren, Wayne, let me ask you something about Warren. And being the elitist we are, being the snobs that we are,
Right.
that we've already established. Do you think, man, that maybe Warren's music sometimes just goes over people's heads?
I think that's true. I think that's true.
I think so.
I think a lot of people are expecting from a song something that's not, you know, meaningful. They just expect it to sound good in their ear and
Catchy.
make it catchy.
Catchy,
A
right.
little bit of bop on your feet. That's fine.
Yeah,
And I got
yeah,
no
yeah.
problem with that. But like I say, I think people hear Warren and it's just something that just sort of, well, he's making me think. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And Warren does have a unique vocal style.
Exactly.
Very unique.
Not. And again, like I said, I liked his voice, but it wasn't like I say a top voice.
You're right. Correct. It's kind
It-
of like probably me and Ronnie.
Exactly.
You know.
And like I say, it's just if you don't get it, I understand you don't get it.
Right.
I really, like I say, I've called myself a snob, which I am, but I'm not going to berate anybody for
No,
liking
me
something
neither.
or not liking something that I like. It's
Right.
just that is your choice. That is definitely your choice. The only thing that I will get on to people for is eating steak that's too cooked, too well done.
Yeah.
I think we can
That's-
all agree on that.
That's just
one.
wrong. That's
Yeah,
just wrong.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Medium rare tops.
Yeah, there
tops.
you go. But like I say, I agree with you. That it does go over people's heads sometimes.
I think it can. I think it definitely can do that. Well, Mike, man,
The
is
next ones, because there's 3 categories on this.
Okay.
That's why it's called the top 3 threes.
Oh,
Okay, great.
oh, so
All right.
cute.
Top 3 movies and or novels.
Oh, okay. Well, the top 3 movies, I guess I would have to say, is I like The Sting
Okay.
with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. I like Bullet with Steve McQueen, where it's got that great chase scene.
Okay. I haven't
And
seen either one of these.
and going way back, if you want to go way back, Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart.
Right.
Those are my
Classic,
top 3
man.
movies. My top 3 books, I would have to say, I liked the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas,
Perfect,
Hunter S.
perfect,
Thompson.
perfect.
And I liked, there was just a new biography of Leonardo da Vinci
Okay.
by Walter Jackson, which was astounding to read. And one of the other ones is a little autobiography. Before he passed away, Scott Beale gave me a book he found in a bookstore in New York City, a biography of the comedian Bill Hicks.
Oh, man.
It's
Bill,
called
yeah.
Screaming at Night, and it is
I bet
awesome.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It
I
is
was
an
a fan.
awesome book.
Yeah.
And those are my top 3 books.
I'm a fan of Hicks, man.
Yeah.
If you haven't
Hicks
seen
hasn't
it-
come up yet on anything, but yeah, we'll
If you haven't
definitely
seen
be.
Hicks, you need to see it.
I really hate, man, that they showed a showdown on YouTube. You know, Alex Jones. Have y'all heard that theory that Bill Hicks is Alex Jones?
All right.
That's hilarious.
I've heard
man.
that. That's so funny.
That's a great one, man. That's a great. Well, we're not getting Alex Jones.
No.
Yeah,
today.
not yet, not yet,
Not yet.
not yet.
Stay tuned, Pusters. Stay tuned.
So the last one is top 3 wrestlers or athletes.
Okay. Top 3 wrestlers or athletes. I think, as far as his impact on the sport, Ric Flair was one of the best wrestlers.
Woo!
Exactly.
I was about to ask you top three. If it's
Yeah.
Ric Flair, yes, indeed, why?
And like I say, his impact. I mean, seriously, his impact on it was wide ranging. And as far as another wrestler goes, you have to go with somebody like Andre the Giant.
Amen, brother.
Andre the Giant, like I say,
Iconic, man.
Exactly.
Iconic.
You cannot not think about Andre the Giant. And as far as somebody that, like I say, has also sort of made the lead. I like John Cena.
I love John Cena, man.
I got no problems with. I'm not going to say The Rock because I can't really remember him as a wrestler that much.
Right. He was great, man. He was great.
I'm sure he was, but like I say, I the first time I really remember seeing him was in movies, and I really don't remember seeing him as a wrestler.
No, man. I mean,
I
Cena's
think-
great. I
I
just wish I could see him wrestle, man.
Well,
I still have not seen Cena
just
wrestle
stop
one
it.
time, man. Not
Just-
once.
Just stop it.
I just can't see him.
But you're right. Definitely anybody that doesn't know Rock from Dwayne "Rock" Johnson from WWE definitely knows that he's in movies. He spent more time in movies.
Oh yeah,
in,
than in a
in
ring.
media than actual in ring wrestling.
Oh, absolutely, man. He's more Hollywood than WWE.
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen a movie he did one time called Driven,
I don't think I've seen Driven.
Oh, that's awesome. He plays this guy who gets out of prison, and Billy Bob Thornton's in it also.
Oh, okay.
And it's
I'm
not a
fan.
blockbuster, but he comes out of prison with just one thing in mind: to kill all the people who killed his brother.
Oh, really?
And it just takes you through step by step of how he does. I mean, he's got basically no dialogue in it at all. I mean, he
Which
just
is probably
goes,
perfect for the.
Oh,
Rock.
it's awesome, and they've got the. I don't know if you know about the band The Heavies.
Yeah.
They do the theme song.
How you like me now?
They do that, but they do a song called "Shortchange Hero." That's the theme song. It's an awesome song. I mean, I like to listen to it just as a song. But if you get a chance to see that movie, it's great.
I'm gonna check it out, man, because I am a Rock fan, a movie star.
And like I say, it's got nothing to do with being a blockbuster. It's just down and dirty, gritty murder.
I'll tell you,
he's
man.
definitely this era's action.
Oh,
movie
without
star,
a doubt, man. He's the highest paid man in Hollywood.
for sure.
you know.
Like Willis or Schwarzenegger, or Stallone.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's our generation, or this
era's,
generation.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, guys, man, if you guys are ready, I think we're going to go ahead and start putting a wrap on. Mike, you got anything else, brother?
No, that's it, brother.
Well,
Wayne, I appreciate you being on
I
here,
can't
man.
thank
Thank
y'all
you.
enough. This has been so much
This
fun.
has been great, man. I've
Absolutely.
been looking forward to this one for a long time now. And once we put a date on it, we got you in here. We had to push it back a week. We wanted to get you in last week, but we had to push that Starcade to 2 episodes.
I got no problems with that. I liked it.
And Wayne, Mike, I'm just going
I
to go ahead
know
and go on
there's a lot of stuff we haven't even covered yet.
I was
So
just about to say,
anytime you want to come back,
Can you come back? Exactly.
I will be back whenever you need me. Thank you so much.
This is
Brad.
not
you.
the last time Wayne Sisk
No.
will be on this show. Wayne, thank you again, brother.
Thank you,
This
guys.
has been outstanding. Well, guys,
It's awesome to see you, man.
it sounds good to see you too, brother.
Thank
It's
you so
always
much
good to
again
see you,
for
man.
having me.
Thank you for coming on. Well, Mike, Wayne, if you guys are good, I guess we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up. Before we sign off, I would like to remind everyone to check out the Millennium Wrestling Federation. They wrestle every other Saturday at Howard's Creek Rec Center, located at 508 Howard Creek School Road. I'm not sure when the next show is. Once again, it's not. I think it's next Saturday.
It is.
It is.
Saturday.
It is next Saturday. So whatever that date is.
That would be. I want to say that's the 8th.
Well, hell, shit, man.
September the
I got a
8th.
damn. I got a calendar right here.
September the 8th.
I believe you're right.
September the 8th.
That's exactly it, bro.
September the 8th.
So be there, be square, Puds. But Wayne, once again, man, thank you.
Thank y'all
Thanks
for having me again. Seriously.
And Mike, if you're good, brother, I
I'm
guess we're
good.
gonna go ahead and shut it down. Well,
All right.
Puds, I hope y'all enjoyed it, and until next week, y'all have a good one.
And not only that, David, I understand we're right at the end of our program.
No. We have got to
This
go.
has been a great event.
There's some people out there that hate us for this.